Welcome to It's Open with Ilana Glazer. That's me. That's me. That's me. Why am I so happy? Because I just finished talking to a young person who made me realize, you know what? The kids are all right. They may be indoctrinated to the manosphere and Club America, but honestly, like, our instincts are to have human rights for each other. Honestly, this young person is a political commentator and also a podcast creator and host called It's a Bit Fruity. You can check it out on YouTube. But damn, he gives me hope. I look to him for leadership to understand things the way old fogies sometimes need translation by younger people to understand shit. And I fucking love him. I'm so proud of him. Today's episode is with Matt Bernstein, also known as Matt XIV on Instagram. So come on in. It's open. Matt XIV.
Matt XIV. Wow.
It's Matt Bernstein, but Matt XIV, I'm just learning where the handle comes from. Tell us.
It was like Roman numerals.
Which, like, Roman is
like
queer
moon
culture.
phases. It was just a lot of like the
Yes.
hipster, the like 2010s hipster stuff. So when I made Instagram in 2012, it's when I like set up my account. I just called it Matt XIV because I was 14 years old. And I was
14 years old. So you were born in 98?
I was born in 98.
Because Matt, I am so moved by your work, and so it gives me hope that young people can. I know it's not easy, but it seems effortless to you to navigate the full scam bullshit that is mainstream discourse, indoctrination into white supremacist capitalism, and the way that you just pull apart the layers of wool laid before you. It gives me hope, and you make it seem easy. Which I know it's not in my own personal education, although perhaps because you were 14 when you got on Instagram, perhaps there is an aspect to youth that makes it easier to figure it out.
I don't know if that's true because I think a lot of people my age, as in most generations at this point, feel like really overwhelmed and exhausted. I don't think I'm like particularly good or special in that way. I'm just obsessed with it. I also I wasn't doing political discourse when I was 14. Like, that's not what my Instagram was. It was like artsy pictures of the beach, you know, with the Instagram Nashville filter on it. But at this point,
oh my God,
I am 27, and for basically my whole adult life, I have been just kind of obsessed with politics. And a lot of people ask, like, how, like, not to pat myself on the back or anything, because it's just an interest that comes naturally to me. But they'll be like, how do you like keep doing it every day? How do you read the news all the time? How do you like stay on it without feeling exhausted? And it's just because like even when everything is terrible, like I'm still, I don't know, the news and like the world and the way that people treat each other, it just feels like a big like puzzle that I'm always interested in, like seeing how everything fits together. It really is just so interesting to me. And even then I still get overwhelmed sometimes. So.
You are so timely with your responses to things. One thing that comes to mind is, oh my God, it was so embarrassing and such a true Shonda. The white Jewish woman who used to work with the Obamas, who wrote this book as a Jew.
Sarah Hurwitz,
yeah. This woman, Sarah Hurwitz, was talking about why young Jews are so mad and defecting from, I wouldn't even say Judaism, actually. I would say defecting from Zionism. From Zionism. Yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm. And she was like blaming the horrific images, and she used very reckless, dehumanizing language, objectifying Palestinians about a genocide occurring to them, upon them right now that we're still seeing in real time.
She said, young Jewish people have taken the wrong lessons from Holocaust education. She's saying the way that they are empathizing with Palestinians living under an Israeli genocide is evidence that they took the wrong lessons from Holocaust education. No, what you should have learned was that you should solely have empathy for Jews facing persecution, not for anyone else, especially when the persecution they're facing is from Jews. And I just like, what a bastardization of what I believe.
We're supposed to learn from the Holocaust.
Which is that genocide is wrong when it happens to anyone.
That's right. And that we're all connected. And never again means never again for anyone and everyone. Yep. Never again a genocide against anybody is what it means to be Jewish.
Yeah.
Truly.
I kept saying, like, Sarah Hurwitz was on this book tour, And it felt like every day there was a new video coming from like where she's speaking on a stage and saying just the most egregious, heartless, dehumanizing anti-Palestinian racism. And I said when I was making those videos about her, like, I hope she keeps speaking. Unfortunately, her press tour did eventually end, but like she was such a useful individual because she was being very open about what the Zionist project actually is.
That's right.
And she didn't have like a lot of the great, I call them Hasbaristas, but like basically propagandists for Israel. Like they are very good at.
Wait, Hasbaristas? What's Has?
So Hasbara is basically it's I believe it's the Hebrew word for understanding, but Hasbara is generally known inside and outside of Israel as like the story that Israel tells the world about itself. Israelis will use this word as well.
Copy that.
But it's sort of become a pejorative in anti-Zionist circles because Hasbara is basically propaganda.
Copy that.
So-
And actually, let me just walk the listeners and viewers back for a second.
Please.
So what was blowing me away about this was in real time on her fucking press tour, which it was as though she was falling down a flight of stairs verbally every day. And you were taking the puzzle pieces apart and then fitting them back together in real time daily in a way that like I felt in my heart the same thing as you, but damn, Matt Bernstein, I was fully learning from you and following your lead in how to articulate those feelings in my heart that were all like in a cauldron. I couldn't pick them apart. And I was so grateful because it was so, so hurtful. By the way, like hurtful as someone who, you know, just I desperately want to see Palestinians have dignity and their basic human rights met, and then also for them to be left alone on their land to, I don't even know what the word is. Their heel doesn't cover it, but whatever. I want to see a free and fair Palestine. Okay. First and foremost, because that's the crisis. But I'm also like, Sarah Hurwitz, girl, you're making Jews less safe, which this Zionist project is. So to see someone, you, be able to like call it out immediately was like a relief. You know, for like our Palestinian brothers and sisters to know that this is not what we believe, Hasbara, as I'm now learning, as you say, but also to represent progressive human rights centered Jews in the appropriate way. We really feel represented by you, and thank you for it. And the speed is incredible, Matt. It's like,
under all this makeup, I'm blushing.
I'm amazed, and I'm so proud of you and so grateful.
Thank you. That is way more praise than I am personally willing to accept, but I do appreciate it. I just feel like, I mean, first of all, like, I credit everything that I know about, you know, Palestinian life and Israeli oppression to the Palestinians that I learn from every day. Mohammed al-Kurd, Bisan, Plestia, Motaz, Omar al-Akkad, all of these people who have been documenting a genocide that they've been also living through, that their families have been living through. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny what you said about like Sarah Hurwitz is making Jews less safe. And I get this comment all the time from Zionists saying that my being a Jewish person, criticizing Israel, criticizing Israeli apartheid, criticizing now this like a state upheld by constant violence that's now leading the entire world into war, that is making Jews less safe. And to me, it is people like Sarah Hurwitz who inextricably tie at every single opportunity all Jewish people to the state of Israel. And this insistence that it's anti-Semitic critique every facet of how Israel is structured as a state, that is like, and the fact that in a lot of ways, members of the Republican Party have beat Democrats and the like liberals to the punch on being able to call this out as a human rights atrocity. And they are now wielding, I mean, we're getting into so much, but like they are now wielding very real anti-Israel sentiment into anti-Semitic sentiment. Look at the way Candace Owens talks about Israel and Jews very seamlessly in the same sentence.
That's right.
And it makes me crazy because the Democratic establishment left this issue on the table because of them being in bed with AIPAC and J Street and all these pro-Israel funds. They've left the issue on the table for someone like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, to come in and take credit for correctly identifying this as a humanitarian issue. And
that's exactly right.
So concerning.
That's exactly right. That's the point at which I am right now. We are still witnessing a genocide. And not only is it a genocide, now we're seeing the plans of our government to build high rises. It is not only sadistic and psychotic and murderous, it's also just disgusting bad taste. I can't even hold it. I continually spill out about it. And, that honestly, that's where I'm at. And I actually think that's, for me, how it should be right now. Losing my mind. But then also, I'm starting to see that where we're at right now in spring of 2026 and October 7th happened, 1,200 Israeli Jews killed by Hamas. October 8th began Israel's genocidal response. It's taken however long this is, 2.5 years, to get to this point where anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment is being absolutely wielded by the white supremacist colonial power structure and centering Israel as the root of this system rather than a branch off of the white supremacist colonial system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think also just like the right wing of American politics often just sort of ebbs and flows between Islamophobia and anti-Semitism.
That's right.
And clings to scapegoating whichever group feels like a better scapegoat at the time.
That's right.
I think a lot of these figures on the right, like Candace Owens, like Tucker Carlson, like Nick Fuentes, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they are looking at the future of the Republican Party after Trump. Because Trump has 2 years left. He is at I think the MAGA movement is like seeing its end right now. It's sort of falling apart right now. But what's next? And I think what's next is these people who are correctly identifying an Israel genocide in Gaza, but they are linking it to how people should feel about Jews and, Jewish conspiracies about global control and global power, even though we know some of the biggest American supporters for the project of Israel are Christian, which is a whole other thing.
That's right.
Christian Zionists like Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz type. And I think that they're just seeing the writing on the wall. And they're also, some of them, yes, they'll frame it as like, it's immoral to do a genocide, but they're also really connecting with right-wing audiences by framing it as what happened to America first,
Which the scary thing is, I agree. Having that seed of truth where, waterlogged, trapped under the pool for a season, RFK Jr. will say that foods have preservatives, start with a seed of truth, and then twist it into this insane thing where women who are pregnant shouldn't take Tylenol. They start with the truth. I want America first. I don't want to be bombing people. That's not where I want my fucking taxes to go.
Yeah, of course.
But then they'll spin it into full anti-Semitism. And as you talk about the inextricably intertwined danger and safety of Jews and Arabs and Jews and Muslims, especially in the United States, let's just fucking limit it there for a second.
Yeah.
It's these people, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, want to see an America in the future free of Jews and Arabs, free of Jews and Muslims. They want to eliminate Jews and Muslims and Jews and Arabs.
Yeah, they're Christian nationalists. I know a lot of people have seen, a lot of people on the left, a lot of people who listen to my stuff, who follow me, they've sent me messages saying, why is Tucker Carlson making sense? And the thing about that is, under a microscope, if you listen to a single thing that Tucker Carlson says about like Israel committing a genocide with our tax dollars is wrong, that does make a lot of sense. The problem, though, is that people like Tucker and Candace, they are fundamentally Christian nationalists. They are not coming at this issue from an ethic of equality, from an ethic of like we all deserve human rights. They are coming at it from this position of like, no, we need to bring our resources back to America. And then once we're here, we need to like consolidate into this Christian nation. So,
oh my God,
it's just
take another moment on that. We have to bring our resources back to America and then consolidate under a Christian nation.
Well, yeah, that's
what they want.
That's what they want. They're very open about that.
Yeah,
but the problem is
go on.
like they attract a potentially much wider net of listeners by saying common sense shit, like genocide against Palestinians is wrong. But then once you get absorbed into their world, you'll end up hearing a lot more insane shit that doesn't lend itself to, like I said, like an ethic of human rights or equality for all.
Right.
Which is why, you know, I encourage people, if they want to actually like stand against genocide, to listen to people on the left.
Yeah, right.
Because it's coming from a place of like, genocide is wrong, not because like the Jews control the world or whatever, but because like genocide is wrong because everyone deserves human rights no matter what their race, religion, gender, etc. is.
The other thing that like has been just, I find so depraved is the co-opting of Christianity, which has like legit foundational values in it. So when these people are saying, you know, consolidate into a Christian nation, it's not really like true Jesus Christianity. You know what I mean? It's like, it's more NXIVM cult than
NXIVM. I was literally talking on the phone with my boyfriend last night and about Catherine Oxenberg's daughter who is in NXIVM. That's crazy. That's come up twice in 2 days.
That's wild.
I don't know. For me, when I hear a lot of these right-wing media people talk, which I do spend like a good portion of every day listening to them talk, I'm just like, did you not go to preschool?
I know.
Like, where you talk about bullying, like when I see Riley Gaines,
who's
like beating up on the same transgender woman who doesn't even have a public profile for years and years and years and years and years and years and grifting millions of dollars off of just bullying people with no societal capital at all. I'm like, I don't know. Like, at what point did our lives become so different?
You and Riley Gaines, for example.
Right, yes.
I know.
Riley Gaines and
I know. And I'm like, were all these right-wing people, is it the, 1% of people who are actually like hurting the other children in preschool who have a natural predetermined sociopathy? Like, these people seem sociopathic.
They do.
I did not, I knew the name Riley Gaines, and like in the way that like, I haven't watched this, I haven't watched that, I don't need to watch The Vow. I really try to protect my sweet little brain from garbage and garbage messages and garbage spirits. I just try to keep it out as much as I can and just focus on the good, because I think that actually can move forward. So I didn't know what Riley Gaines was until a really helpful unfolding of her recently. She is mad that she lost 5th place. She is mad she lost 5th place in a swimming competition to a trans woman. So now she is making millions of dollars off of anti-trans messaging. That is so stupid. That is so uncreative. That's literally stealing. You're just stealing money that could be used elsewhere to evoke anti-trans messaging, which genuinely leads to violence against trans women, one-on-one violence. It literally, and of course, this mass mobilization to erase trans people from our country.
Yeah, but
it's fucking insane.
Why get bogged down in like the facts or statistics or reality or truth of anything when you could just profit off of, inducing fear into people about the most minoritized people in this country? Ilana, why would you do that?
And I'm just like, this person, Riley Gaines, has some energy. Okay, for people who don't know at all about Riley Gaines, she was basically a University of Kentucky student NCAA swimmer who, at a swim meet, she actually didn't lose 5th place. She tied for 5th place. With a trans woman. This was now 4 years ago at a college swim meet. Kaka.
You know what's so interesting about Riley Gaines, I've talked about her as a case study a lot, is if you read these local interviews that she gave right after the race, she said, it was a little disappointing to have to, tie with someone. And for the photo op, they only had one trophy. So they gave my, 5th place tire the trophy, and then they mailed me one in the mail. So she ended up getting the trophy too, which I didn't even know there was a trophy for 5th place, but whatever. And
it's like rose gold, like what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's, I don't know. It's like
okay,
rubber. But she said in like this really early interview right after the race, she was like, regardless of everything, this sucks, but I wish her well in her transition, is literally what she said, bar for bar.
Wow.
And if you look just 1 year later, after she's gotten this Fox Sports podcasting deal, she's going on all the shows, she's doing the circuit, she's making money. She was going to be a dentist, but she didn't have to go to dental school and ended up getting so much more money doing this. The answer is right there because they just get so much money, they being like right-wing grifters. I'm not talking about
non-binary grifters.
Non-binary Riley Gaines. Yeah, Riley Gaines, they, them. Like she gets this money thrown at her. She gets all these organizations, the Turning Point type people, they coalesce around her and they say, no, you've been victimized. You've been victimized by the trans cult, by the gender ideologists. Righteous in becoming more and more cruel. And also, hey, it plays a lot better on Twitter. So
plays a lot better than what? Not being cruel?
Than just saying, yeah, I tied for 5th and I wish her well in her transition and ultimately we all have to move on with our lives.
Now I'm also understanding this is not just a money-making scheme. She also has merged her desire to believe that she was robbed with some new semblance of reality that she was robbed.
Of 5th place.
5th place.
That position people are always talking about, wishing that they could just come in by themselves instead of having to share the 5th place podium that nobody knew existed.
Oh my God, it's so sick. And there's this this.
It's so exciting when I get to make Ilana Glazer laugh. By the way.
Pausing your regularly scheduled programming to offer you a great discount on a great product. Thank goodness springtime is here. I was losing it, dog. But I'm so happy it's here because when I put my boots back on the shelf, I put on Bombas footwear. Check this out. Oh yeah, it's time for springtime and summer, baby. This is waterproof. This is lightweight. I could toss it. Here's another product. I could toss it in my bag. I could toss them on, walk outside, take a shower at the gym. You know what I'm talking about? Not to brag that I go to the gym. And I'm just loving it. This is Bombas footwear. I thought they just made socks. No, they make footwear too. You know what I also didn't realize they make? Underwear and t-shirts. I'm wearing it right now. It's breathable. It's soft. It's feeling good on my body. Oh, check this out. Yeah, that's nice. It just feels good. I'm loving it. And something I did not know about Bombas is that for every item you purchase, an essential clothing item is donated to someone facing housing insecurity. One purchased, one donated, with over 150 million donations and counting. Whew, these are high quality products. And to think that I'm buying something and someone who needs this is receiving it as well makes me feel good. So head over to bombas.com/Ilana and use the code Ilana to get 20% off your first purchase. So Bombas is bombas.com/Ilana, ILANA. And then use the code Ilana, ILANA, to get 20% off. See you later. This is kind of like what I was like just shifting into. There's like a $1 trillion hate message machine that we don't know exists. It is so in the darkness. Now we're seeing what Turning Point is. We all heard about the Koch brothers. There's and also Project 2025.
Yeah.
We're now starting to see, somebody wrote a 900-page paper. Well, many people were funded very, very lushly to make that paper, to organize it, to get, it's like there's no word for it. And there's no equivalent on the left. And there's certainly no equivalent for real progress. Corporate Dems, there's no fucking container, but there's no container for true progressives.
Yeah. I mean, corporate Democrat influencers, though, it's like not real. Like there are some who are, basically like shills for the mainstream Democrats who like those are the people who you'll see like they get plucked to do an influencer speech at the DNC, but like nobody really knows who they are because everyone with real like cultural cachet on the left is very scary to Democrats,
right.
Which is why, I mean, I don't want to like selfishly involve myself in that category, but like I didn't get an invite to the DNC in 2024.
Right.
Neither did like Hassan Piker, for example, who they're all freaking out about now more than ever because they're seeing how people like him could actually sway the future of these people's careers if they don't stop taking APAC money. But.
Yep. And also like even still like it's useless. It's so limp and weak because it's not moving anybody, you know? Whereas like the hatred, like the machine, the profit, and the messaging, like it really lines up and has generation after generation.
The people freaking out about this, none of you even care about women's sports.
That's
when
right.
you can't relate it to trans people.
That's right.
You guys don't watch it.
Yep.
You guys don't invest in it. You
That's
guys don't
right.
care. You mock it when they're at the Olympics winning.
Fuck.
So let's
so
be
lame.
real.
It's
you
so
know,
lame.
you just hate trans people a little more than you hate cis women. And that's what this is about. But when you have the opportunity to support women's sports in the same way that you support men's sports, you don't take it.
That's
so
right.
this isn't about women's sports.
It's so gross. And also like the masculinity and femininity, it's like, it is so, to me, so unfeminine to hate other women. You seem to love your parents. It seems that you love your
Yes.
daddy, you love your mommy. Is that right?
I do, but where'd you pull that from?
You like have posted your dad loving you and people are like, you're not a man, or whatever.
That's
And they're
true.
like,
yeah.
you know, whatever the
I
fuck they're
post
doing.
less of them now because it's like as things have gotten bigger and people are just so unhinged, I'm like, I just want to leave them alone. But
Yeah.
I do love my
Well, I've been
parents.
following you for a long time and I've really been touched by how much you honor them and how much they honor you for exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Have they always?
Yeah. You know, like I came out as gay when I was 15. So that's, you know, there's not really a seamless path to doing that.
Wow.
I came out like right before gay marriage
Wow.
became legalized, which is kind of a throwback and also maybe a throw forward. You know, you could be losing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Got to laugh through the pain. But yeah, my parents are wonderful. You know, we've through the gay stuff, now, you know, coming from a Jewish background and a Zionist background, like through the Israel stuff, like
Have they followed you in that way? Have they learned from you?
You know, with family, extended family, especially intergenerational conversations can get pretty, you know, over the last couple of years, like have been hard, have been intense, but they've always been willing to listen and on a whole matter of things. And look, like as someone who does lefty politics very loudly to a lot of people online, I will admit that like I haven't always made it super easy for them. Like I know sometimes I've gotten calls over the last, you know, I've been doing this for 8 years. And sometimes they'll just call me and be like, what are you posting about today? What is this? You know, are you?
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, they've never once told me to stop. They've never, you know,
Awesome.
I feel really lucky because like, for as out there as I am, like my parents are very proud of me.
That's awesome.
Which is a real blessing. And I know that.
Did you start like online stuff doing makeup?
I'm so thrilled when people want to talk about makeup because I know my
Yeah,
whole
I
thing is
do.
like politics in the world, but I
want to
love
talk about
makeup.
and nails. And then I also want to talk about fashion.
Yeah.
Like you, well, I know. Okay, let's start with fashion. So people were hounding you recently for showing up to a premiere not styled, and they were so insane.
Yes.
And I like your style, okay? I like your style. Even we went to lunch, you were in gym clothes, and I was like, look at this fucking cutie. Like so cute coming up in your little gym clothes. I love your fit. Fuck these people.
I went to the premiere of your movie, Babes. Was I dressed appropriately?
You were dressed great. You looked great. Fuck these people. And also I really appreciate it because I style myself. I can't spend that money, even on hair and makeup. I've learned to do my own makeup somewhat. And I'm also like, I'm into a natural look just because I'm, you know what I mean? I'm like,
And that's your thing.
that's my thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I'll claim it as my thing. And styling myself, like it is so expensive to be a styled, glammed person. Also, it takes time that I don't want to give to that. And that was so rude. And I love your style. I think you look great.
Thank you. I honestly, I take that and I appreciate it. And I also just don't really care.
Good.
Like,
Good,
I don't
good.
really care. And that's where a
Good.
lot of this comes down to me. Okay. So if I want to explain for the listener, because I had this like internet drama, which was so strange to me. Because most of the tension that exists in any of my like internet narratives is regarding politics, right? Like that's what I do. But then all of a sudden people were talking about my clothing, which I thought was really strange.
It is. It is.
What happened was I got a message from someone who I assume watches my podcast on YouTube where you can like see my clothes. And you know, if you're watching the video version of this right now, like this is how I dress, like sweater vests and t-shirts.
And also the sweater vest
hats.
is the Bob Hope golf tournament.
Yes, I did
fucking
not
lit.
never went to a golf tournament. This I got at a vintage place. But so I got this message from someone who was like, I love you and I love your podcast and I think it's time to hire a stylist. And I'm willing to offer you my services. And this was the best part.
You want me to pay you?
They said, like, pay creatives, hire creatives. Like they fused it with this messaging around like, pay creative people, like hire working artists. And I was like, whoa. I don't even care how I look.
And also like as though it's like a, I don't know what, political message. And then making this like binary thing. Are you going to pay creatives or not? It's so silly. Okay, so that's silly.
But I thought it was funny. This is the thing. Like it was so campy to me. Like this specific message.
Okay, copy that.
And so I screenshotted the message and I shared it on Twitter. And I was just like, which is, by the way, wrong move.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, like this is so silly. I'm speechless. And I thought everyone would be like, haha, like, we poke fun at ourselves.
Yeah.
I can't take myself very seriously. As a rule online.
100.
Like, you have to poke fun at yourself, like especially because it's like I have like millions of followers online, but also like I feel the need to constantly remind people that like I'm just like a person.
Yep.
And so I'm poking fun at myself, because it's not that serious.
Right.
I'm not like a person on a hill. I'm with you, And anyway, so I share this message and people, like I wake up in the morning and people have made collages of my outfits from Getty Images.
No.
Where they're like, but you do look like shit, so you really should get a stylist. And at first I was like, okay, like this is funny, I'm laughing. And then I was like, this has 100,000 likes. I'm not really laughing anymore. Like, okay, like we're being a little mean.
It's mean.
And
inaccurate.
I ended up making like a short video on Instagram where I was basically like, I filmed it shirtless, which I thought was very funny because I was like, you can't judge my clothes now, bitches.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I made this video and I was like, look, everyone has to chill out. Like, this is crazy. But I also connected it back to like this stylist culture where everyone who shows up to anything is expected to be like beat and cinched and pulled and tucked at every single angle. Like that is a newer thing. If you look, like people always like, love to look at these images from the early 2000s where you had like Anne Hathaway wearing bell-bottom jeans and a t-shirt to an event.
That's right.
And that was because those were just their clothes.
Right.
But the standards were elevated so much over, the last 2 or so decades where it became a thing where the expectations were raised. Okay, now you have a stylist, now you have a makeup artist. Those things cost for the day rate for each of those people is thousands of dollars.
That's right.
And what was interesting was I got so much support on that video from a number of sort of like up and coming female entertainers who were like, thank you so much for talking about this.
That's right.
Because I am expected to fulfill a certain image and I can't even afford it yet.
That's right. It helped me. It supported me. I was like, yeah, this is a sham. This is a scam where you pretend to be a famous person instead of just the human being you are showing up that day. Do you know Think 1994 Museum? Do you know that Instagram? They're like really funny and like very throwback, but there was this opening, like a premiere of the Target on Atlantic Avenue.
Okay.
In the early 2000s that like Chloe Sevigny came to and Maggie Gyllenhaal, like that kind of like they were trying to make it New York cool. And these women were 22 at the time or whatever the fuck. And they look normal, but it looks insane because we've gotten so normalized to like stylist culture. And it is like a Target opening and they're trying to make it like Chloe Sevigny is at this and other men.
Yeah, and she probably took like fucking like cigarette ash and like smudged it on her eye and that was it.
Yeah.
Take us back.
Okay, the nails. Let's talk.
Sure.
Do you ever give yourself a break?
Yeah, every now and then. So if people don't know any of my stuff.
For those who are electing to watch on YouTube, can we see? They're like so fucking cool. Are any broken? None are broken.
None are broken right now. And they are grown out. I've had these for about 3 weeks.
Okay, show one more time because they're like really just fabulous. Are you particularly careful when they're on?
Please don't zoom in on the cuticle growth.
Okay. Just a sort of cool.
Yeah, I take a break for a month or two a year because like the nail beds do get a little bit thin.
But then they'll grow new and they'll be strong again?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I really credit my ability to do nails like this from my great-grandmother, Pauline.
You knew your great-grandmother?
I didn't know her.
Okay.
She died before I was born, but I was told by my mother that she had very thick natural nails that I also have. That, kind of runs in the family. So I'm very grateful to her for allowing me to be the long nail guy.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. You get them done.
I get them done, yes.
You don't do them yourself.
Yeah, I love it. No, I was actually thinking about this, though. It's like you do have to work a little bit harder, I think, in the political space to get taken seriously when you're also like,
a bit fruity.
When you're a bit fruity.
Yeah.
But, when you're like a boy who's doing like glam and makeup all the time, like I get called like, as a pejorative, like I get called like, oh, you're just going to listen to second-rate James Charles about politics. And yeah, but it's,
I love them.
People like the ASMR. So
I do love them. Okay. And let's talk makeup.
Sure.
And then like connected to skincare. So you started by doing makeup online,
Yeah.
Your own makeup online.
Well, so really at the very beginning, I was a photographer. I wanted to be a working photographer. Like my original plan was to be an artist. And in college, like I would do odd jobs, like shooting events, stuff like that. Parties. I did a lot of like flash party photography. I was using Instagram as like a portfolio. You scroll all the way back. Some of it is still there.
Wow.
But then, early in college, I was very excited by makeup. I think it's always something that I really wanted to do.
Copy that.
I would play around with like my mom's makeup a lot when she was out and I was in high school. But I think living in a city and feeling like I could just like spread my wings and like, I was like really playing with makeup so much and I loved it. I think makeup is like the artistic love of my life more than any other medium. I love it.
You're so good at it. It's so subtle and yet exact. I love it. Do you do a full beat every day?
No.
Copy that.
No. Yeah, eventually I was just like, I really just want to talk about politics all the time.
Wow, cool.
And maybe I can wear makeup while I do that. So it's kind of, I don't know. I've always tried to keep, I hate the word authentic because it's such like a stupid, annoying market buzzword, but I've always tried to just do this job online in the exact way that feels fulfilling to me. And like, I will tell you in the political space, not so much on the left, because there isn't a lot to like grift off easily by doing this on the left, but there's so many people, whether it's like mainstream liberals on like news or of course all over the right-wing ecosystem, that just like they don't really care about what they put out. A lot of it is acting, a lot of it is performing, a lot of it's especially performing rage on the right, and the cameras turn off and they don't care and they're normal. And like a lot of people, it was so interesting. Like when Charlie Kirk died, there were so many people who were like, yeah, he was a hothead when he was on camera, but if you knew him in person, he was actually a really nice, gentle guy. And the thing is, I believe them, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because the damage is, of course, done when he's on camera.
That's right.
Performing.
That's right.
And so many of them do that. I mean,
that's right.
I've had people in person be so nice to me. And then I'm like, wait, but why do you act that way on the internet? I'm not going to pretend that it's like my humanity isn't compressed on a certain level because it's the internet. I'm not going to say that everyone who's ever consumed my podcast knows the essence of my human, but I really do try to be honest about who I am when I come to work.
Yep.
And, a lot of people don't.
I just am wondering how it feels to be a young man who knows who he is and has a career that is authentic to him, where you don't have to like siphon off some disgusting part of yourself for profit. Like, you're an aligned person. How does it feel to be in the world in this way as yourself, as well as in the context of men in your generation?
I feel so unbelievably grateful to get to like be who I am every day. I don't take it lightly at all. I could like cry, which I don't do very much. But like, I think all the time about like the person that I was growing up and like so paranoid about people finding out like who I really was. And I don't even just mean like gay in the homosexual sense. I mean just like me.
Yes.
Like I remember a core memory for me was like, I don't know if you had this, but in elementary school, like you would line up outside the school with your class and then you would be let in to the school, to your classroom. And there was this girl named Ava who was so pretty. And it was like a cold day and she had these like white fluffy earmuffs. And I remember telling her, I was like, I wish I could have earmuffs. And one of the parents heard me say that and told my mother, who then when I got home was like, I heard that you told Ava that you wanted earmuffs. And like, there was a whole conversation. And, you know, God bless my mother. Like, she's come a really long way, but like, that really meant something. And the earmuffs. And it instilled in me, like, I remember there was another time where it was like, even before that in preschool, like, you know, we'd play house. And there was this little like floral fabric, like Velcro skirt that sometimes I would put on. And like, I remember one of the parents saw me wearing that and like, that was also a thing. And it's like, every little queer kid I think can understand this, but it's like, it creates this sense of paranoia in a 6-year-old.
Right.
Where your brain just starts operating differently because you don't want to be found out because you know, and I hold those memories really close because I cherish, not to use another overused marketing buzzword, but I cherish the journey. The journey. I do. I think every day, like, I get to wake up and like have a job that I control, #girlboss, with like, no, but like where I like have my nails and my makeup and I talk about left-wing politics and I talk about the queers and the sissies and the pansies and all of us getting to live the lives and the freedom that we deserve. And it is thrilling. It's thrilling to be yourself. I don't take it for granted, even though we all should. We all should, because it should just be something that we get to do. But unfortunately, it's not. And I don't think there's virtue in struggle necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a better person because I went through all of that. I think it's just something bad that happened. You see a lot of times people replicating harm that they've been through because, like, you know, hurt people. And it's like, why should these kids have it easier than I did? Like, I don't believe that.
Yep.
I don't think my suffering made me a better person. I just think it sucked.
Yeah. It sucks to see women do that.
Yeah.
Because they were treated bad in a corporate situation and then do it again.
Like, why these feminist workplace rules?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you shouldn't have gone through that.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so should no one else. So anyway, it makes me grateful every single day that I get to do what I do and not perform masculinity, not perform, you know, just be myself.
Yeah, it feels really good to take your work in, and I feel so happy to have you on today and to also continually building our friendship and collaborative relationship.
Thank you. It means so much. You really, like I said, just to reiterate, you really have been like a really soft place for me to land in good and bad moments.
Yeah.
You are as wonderful and motherly off screen and off microphone as you are on, and you're a joy to just be around and a joyful presence in the world. So thank you.
This has been a completely human production because it's been a Star Picks production, okay? I want to thank all the people who helped me creatively come to this container and build it. That's Annika Carlson. That's David Rooklin. That's Kelsie Kiley. That's Glennis Meagher. That's Madeline Kim. I want to thank Tova Leibowitz, who edits this show so damn good. He's a little smarty, and I just love working with him. I want to thank the people who made this show look and sound so beautiful, because that's what I want to bring to you. Human beauty. And that's Rebecca O'Neill on sound. That's Kevin Deming on the lights. Look at how the lights. And that's Lexa Krebs on the camera. You know what I mean? Sharp, but soft. I want to thank Ramo Ventura for making the graphics so good, so good, so good. And the opening musical sting, as well as Don Her, the band that I can now say is 3 people from Smithtown, where I grew up, my brother, Elliot Glazer, Jimmy Hines, baby Derek Muro, dog, Long Island in a house, Don Her. You know why it's called Don Her? Because that's how you say Donna on Long Island. Don Her. Is that fucking hysterical? The music is so fucking good. It blows my mind. Honestly, I fucking love it. Long Island in the house, 516-631. I'm going nuts, guys, because we recorded 2 today, and I'm going nuts. Can you guess which ones were recorded together? I want to say it again. It's been a Star Picks production, and you know what? I'm going to go there. God bless you. I love you. I really love you. If you like this show and you like the vibe, like and subscribe. It really makes a difference. We're building a community here, and I'd love to be in community with you because it's lonely out here. Just kidding. I'm going nuts, guys. Listen. Take care of yourself. Love you. Bye.